sad and hopeful.
Sad and just kind of hopeful.
No, it is hopeful.
I've got a body, I treat it as I should. Cause if I do for it does me real good. It tells me what it wants, I reach to satisfy. I don't have to worry, it controls my mind. And it's really hell when you're reaching for the heaven, and all you want to do is make yourself feel good. It's really hell when you're reaching for the heaven, and all you want to do is make yourself feel good. When I'm all alone, my body talks to me. If my stomach growls, it needs food to eat. I satisfy my hunger as fast as I can. What I can't reach with food, I reach some other way. And it's really hell when you're reaching for the heaven, and all you want to do is make yourself feel good. It's really hell when you're reaching for the heaven, and all you want to do is make yourself feel good. When this is all over, everything will know. As if I have a body to tell me where to go. When I face God, I said, when I face God, when I face God and tell him what I've done, I'm gonna say, gee, I was just having fun. And it's really hell. It's really hell when you're reaching for the heaven, and all you want to do is make yourself feel good.
Ain't that the truth?
And then I wonder why I went wireless. I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like to feel abandoned. I know what it's like to hate myself. I know what it's like to cry myself to sleep. I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like to feel abandoned. I know what it's like to hate myself. I know what it's like to cry myself to sleep. I know what it's like to not have enough food. And I know what it's like to not have a home. And I know what it's like to feel tired and weary. And I know what it's like to be stunned by God. But human love is a distant friend that tries to visit every once in a while. It barely leaves a memory, but it is always on my mind. Human love is a distant friend that tries to visit every once in a while. It barely leaves a memory, but it is always on my mind. It is always on my mind. I know what it's like to think I'm handsome. I know what it's like to think I'm ugly. I know what it's like to feel old and young. 'Cause I know what it's like to watch someone die. I know what it's like to watch my time escape me. 'Cause I know what it's like to mistake lust for love. I know what it's like to feel tired and weary. And I know what it's like to be stunned by God. Human love is a distant friend that tries to visit every once in a while. It barely leaves a memory, but it is always on my mind. Human love is a distant friend that tries to visit every once in a while. It barely leaves a memory, but it is always on my mind. It is always, always on my mind. Thank God I have Jesus. 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 Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Whoa. Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they nailed him to that tree? Were you there when they nailed him to that tree? Whoa. Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they nailed him to that tree? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Whoa, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when they laid him in that tomb? Were you there when they laid him in that tomb? Whoa, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in that tomb? Were you there when he rose from the grave? Were you there when he rose from the grave? Whoa. Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when he rose from the grave? When they laid him in that tomb? When the sun refused to shine? When they nailed him to that tree? When they crucified my Lord? It's funny, I know these songs like the back of my hand, and now they're on them. And to say that this project is a vanity project compared to everything else I've done is kind of ironic, but I'm on the precipice of a 10-year anniversary of my music ministry, and I'm compiling stuff and finding demo tapes and all that stuff you do when you get all nostalgic and feel like you have to commemorate something. And in the end, I thought about it and I said, what I really want to do is I want to sing my first record and just do that. And I just did. And it's not as easy as I thought. A lot changes in 10 years and a lot of memories in 10 years. When I did it again.
Yeah.
Testing. Jerry. Wow. So what's new? Hello. See, there's two J's I call on Jesus and Jerry. Jerry, I played with my microphone. Okay, I'm not gonna play. I didn't even know it had that. Do they all come with those on-off switches? I appreciate you guys coming out tonight and listening, and I appreciate my opening act is not in the room, so I don't have to say anything nice. I'll say it later. And shame on you. But I set out to do the most audience-friendly, Christian-friendly, nice thing I could do. And when I recorded those 9 songs, and the 10th song I'm going to do is my last song, I picked from thousands of songs that I had to choose from that I had written over the years. And this was like my tapestry. It was supposed to be like my 10 most likable songs. And I was such a normal, unpretentious, and average kind of fellow back then. And everybody in Christianity treated me like, well, like I was Marilyn Manson or something. And I was so well behaved. If anyone, well, you could see the album cover. My gosh, I had facial hair. And I was like, I don't understand. I cleaned up so nice for you people, and you still treat me like I'm unclean. And if I had just known then what I know now, is that once you start to do something, you know, the criticism starts and it just never stops. It just simply never stops. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And I probably wouldn't have taken it half as personally as I did in the first 3 years, but those first 3 years were so painful because I was trying to make everybody like me, and then I realized that well, that wasn't going to happen, and that I had to find my voice. I had to find my voice. I had to find my place. I had to find my expression. And I'll let you know when I find my voice, when I find my place, and I find my expression. But the one thing I've seen over a decade, and since the time those heartfelt songs were either written or compiled for the first record, is that I'm not half as nice as I was 10 years ago. But I'm also not half as scared as I was 10 years ago, and I'm not running around trying to beg the religious folk to like me or to love me or to accept me. That I knew from the beginning that my ministry was about reaching people who had been hurt by the religious folk and letting them know that God was real and God loved them, no matter what they look like, what they act like, or how they sang or danced or dressed and expressed themselves. And despite the naysayers, and it feels like a lifetime of naysayers, I've had the most amazing decade anyone could dream possible. And I've lived the dream I had as a kid. I lived the dream I had as an adult. I've done so much more than I imagined. And in the end, it all feels new, it all feels fresh, and it all feels like something I have to conquer. I was so nervous when I started tonight, and I was like, dude, you've done thousands of these things. Each one's the first one, each one's like the last one you're ever gonna do. It matters. And I thought about the show, and I thought about what I was gonna say, and in the end, it came down to, I'll wait and see who's in the room, but I can't see who's in the room. You're all a bunch of heads. That's all I can see is a bunch of heads. And I don't know who I know and who I don't know, but I'm gathering from the people I can see. You are the people I know, and the people in the back cowering are the people that I don't know. And I guess I just want to say that this was a very selfish event for me. I didn't have a CD release party for Not Unclean, and I spent so much time trying to get shows and trying to get people to like me and accept me and listen to the music, and it was so poorly received. It was it's an honor just to have an opportunity just to sing this collection of songs that I sadly think are better than a lot of the songs I currently do. And so, and I want to say that I felt really, really impressed that someone or someones would be here tonight. And anyone who knows me knows I do not do that. If I can do it, you can do it thing. I never do that. I never do the, you know, I just want you to know, just be yourself. You know, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. If I can do it, I can do it. I don't know if you can do it, because it was really hard to do it myself, and look how far I got. There's a dozen of you. But, well, to my failure. But, but, I'm going to say it. No matter what, life feels a hell of a lot better when you're marching to your own drum. And life feels a hell of a lot better when other people look at you and say, wow, you're different. You march to your own drum. And it's not because of green hair or something, because I clean up, and it's everywhere I go, people treat me like I'm totally different than anyone in the room, even if I'm just sitting there. You know what? People are jealous of a free spirit. People are jealous of someone who's not a slave. And I will tell you, I'm poor, and I'm afraid, and I have no idea where my next anything's going to come from. But a day doesn't go by that I don't say out loud, oh yeah, let's just throw you a pity party, Paisley. You get to wake up every day and be Paisley. And as hard as that is, and as challenging as that is, to someone else it's enviable, because you're not a slave. You're not a slave. The only thing you answer to is God. You don't answer to anyone else. And the fruit of that is some really whacked out stuff, I'll admit. But you know what? It's been a blast. And if it ever had to stop, I'd say I did it, and it was a blast. I'm not going to stop, and it will continue to be a blast. But I've never, ever thought in this life I would say to a room full of people, you know, if I can just step out of the mold, so can you. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I watched that truly dreadful episode of Glee the other night. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. But they showed the transgender person speaking into a phone cam saying, if I have to die today, I just want everyone to know, be yourself. Allow yourself to be yourself. And I was like, oh, honey, that's so 10 years ago. But you know what? Every single one of us is trapped in a box of our own making. And we blame others, we blame society, we blame situation, we blame experience. In the end, we just did it. We bought into it. We became a slave. Jesus freed us. You know what? Moses freed us. But we are not slaves. Abraham Lincoln freed us. We are not slaves. We just think we are. It is so time for God's people to step out of the mold and make a statement. Please don't make mine, because this is all I know how to do. Make your own damn statement. But it's time to make a statement. It's time to show the world that we aren't slaves. We're not slaves to the church. We're not slaves to religion. And by religion, I mean that's all that cocky nonsense rhetoric, you know, brouhaha that comes out of the mouth of so many of the Christians, of which I am, that's so destructive. I heard me tonight, and even with my voice cracking because of the air, the AC I asked to be blowing right on me was causing it to dry right in that spot. Happened to you too?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm being videotaped, and my voice cracked 3 times, and there's people here that have never heard my voice crack ever. You know, this is what I have for posterity. But even with my voice cracking, all that kept going through my head was, how many people have told me I can't sing? How many people have told me I can't sing? All I do now, I can't do it. I suck. That's all I've ever heard. I still hear it. I still hear it. You know what? Sing anyway. Do it anyways. You're not getting younger, and you're not getting freer by being a slave. It's time to repent of our slavery, folks. Believers in the room, I assume most of the people in the room, and I don't mean to be insulting to non-believers or anything, and I will say non-believers really bug me when they tell me I'm a threat, but I'm nice, man. I love you guys. You're the reason I get up in the morning. Believers already believe. I don't have to tell them anything, but I do feel impressed, and I will end with, repent, believers, of the slavery, of the bondage of religion and faralderol and rhetoric. Force yourself to say it different. Force yourself to pray different. Force yourself to share different, talk different, think different. Force yourself to try. And at the very least, it's a hell of a lot more fun than sounding like your neighbor. It's a hell of a lot more fun sounding like the person sitting across from you at work. Or it's a much nicer life experience. And all I can say is for the last decade, since I started to record these songs, my quality of life is what changed the most. Is what changed the most. I think I have laughed so much in the last 10 years. I think I've cried just as much in the last 10 years. But my gosh, when do you feel more alive than when you're laughing and crying? Thank you all very much for coming tonight. If you don't know the incredible wow that is Jesus, I pray you do. But I will never, ever, ever thump you. I will ask that you take a CD off that table over there and sign my email blast book so I can secretly hound you and thump you, but I won't do it in a venue like this. But I want to thank the Trunk Space for having me and you guys, and thank my opening act Karen, who was divine, and thank you all. And I'm going to shut up and sing. Oddly enough, I wrote this song longer than 10 years ago for a young lady that I knew that was just so heartbroken because, like me, she had been in a popular LA band and was, you know, working on her first record, but she decided to follow the Lord instead and sacrifice to the Lord her talents and leave them at the feet of the cross. What other rhetoric can I say? She decided to say, I have a God-given talent, I'm going to wait for God to tell me what to do with it. And she was in a lot of pain. She had a hard time with that. And I wrote this song, and I had no idea that it would speak to my circumstance more than anything, that by the time I got to sing it in front of anybody, it had already come true.